Hey guys, how's it going? Thought I'd give you a bit of an update on the M2. I've had it just over a week now. Only covered 400 miles in it. Work has been exceptionally busy, which is good because something has to pay for this car. Yeah, so I'm just taking it out for a quick drive. I was going to say before the rain came down, but as I was thinking that, a couple of drops have hit the windscreen. What do I think about the M2? Well, firstly, I want to start by talking about some of the comments I've been seeing on, well, various reviews and whatever else. Mostly have been positive, of course, because it's such an amazing car. The majority of people who actually, you know, influence me anyway, and the majority of people that I actually listen to and take their word for, people like Chris Harris and the top sort of magazines are raving about it. So that's what we really got to worry about. But you know, there are a lot of people out there saying that it's not a proper M car, or it's an M Light, or whatever it's missing. The thing is, I mean, what determines a proper M car? To me, it's all about driving experience. You know, it's all about what it feels like behind the wheel, regardless of anything else. You know, people say that it hasn't got a carbon roof, it doesn't come with carbon wing, it does, or it's not a proper M car. Bullshit. I say bullshit anyway. If this had a lead roof and drove like it did, I wouldn't care. You know, if it was a convertible and it drove like it did, I would still think it was one of the best, if not the best, driver's cars I've ever had the pleasure of driving. Other people are saying it's underpowered. Again, absolute bollocks. You know, how powerful do you need a car to be? I think the power on tap in this car is perfect. I think the power on tap in my M135 and 235s, that, you know, that's ample. That's, you know, they're ragingly fast. They're silly. You know, as a driving tool, this is perfect. This is amazing. You know, like look at the Honda S2000 that had 200 brake or something. Look at the GT86. You know, fantastic driver's car. Again, 200 brake horsepower. This thing's almost got twice that, according to a couple of American owners that have taken theirs on dynos. This is putting out around 400 brake horsepower, which again doesn't surprise me, because the M135 and 235s, they're quoted at what, 320 brake horsepower. The majority of people that put them on dynos, they're pushing out over 340, in some cases 350, 355. So yeah, I think near on 400 brake horsepower in a small car is is ample. Yes, it's 1,500 kilos. It's not a lightweight, but I think that kind of pays off in the way that it's so small, so compact, this car, yet it does GT. It's a cruiser. You know, it does such a good job at just cruising, and part of the reason of that is because it has got a bit of weight to it. You know, it doesn't bounce around like some really good sort of driver focus cars that are very lightweight, like Lotuses and stuff, that are awesome, but they move around a lot. You know, there's not much weight to them. It's very hard to make a car that's exceptionally good on the track or as a driver's car and exceptionally good at being a GT car. I mean, 911s, for instance, do a very good job of that. So I think I take my hat off to BMW for building this car. You know, of course it's got some cheaper parts in it. Of course the majority of the car you get in here, and it's hardly any different to a 235 or even a 2 Series. Is that a bad thing? No. The cost differential, people are going on about, yes, you can. I could have walked into a BMW dealership and probably walked away with an M4 for this similar, if not the same money that I paid for this, which was basically 51 grand. Remember, this is a top spec car. It's a DTC. It's got all the options available except for the roof. So, you know, but at 44 grand for the manual variant, that's exceptional value. Again, I think people are getting lost in their ways. You know, like, yes, it might sound expensive compared to, say, a 135 or a 235. You know, it's 15-20 grand more. But I think that highlights just what a good car the M135 and 235 are in every sense. You know, they're exceptional value, and that's why I've kept my 135, because it's such a car. I mean, I can't go on enough about those cars. You know how much I love them, and I think this car just highlights them even further. So yes, it's expensive compared to them, but actually, you know, 44 grand for one of these. I know there's a waiting list and whatever else, so if we put that aside, and of course it's not going to have all the parts that the M4's got, because the M4's 60 odd grand before discounts. Remember, you know, if the M4 wasn't getting discounts, you've got to look at the RRP, because you can't just, this isn't getting discounts at the moment because it's in high demand. There's not enough of them around, so you can't compare it to an M4 and say, oh well, you know. And at the end of the day, like I said, drivability, I'm going to get my hands on either an M3 or an M4 with a DTC very soon and do a back-to-back comparison. And I know for a fact, I've driven both cars, and I know that in a straight line, sort of above 50 or 60 miles an hour, those, you know, those M3 and M4s with that extra, what have they got, an extra 50 or 60 brake and an extra torque, they are faster, for sure. They're no heavier either. They might be a bigger car, but they're really not any heavier. So of course they're faster in a straight line, but these small M cars have never been about straight line, you know, like look at the original sort of E30 M3, even the E46 M3, you know, there was much faster cars available for similar money at that time. M cars are not, the bigger M cars are more about straight line pace, like the M5s and the M6s, you know, they're rocket ships. But, you know, an M5, yes, I mean, for the size of them, they're amazing, awesome fun, and they disguise their weight very well. But on a B or an A road, you know, twisty A or B road, this thing be so much more fun, in my opinion, than an M5. But that's taking nothing away from an M5 or an M6, because they are absolutely sublime. You know, they're incredible vehicles for what they're designed for, but they can't be as good a fun as this car, because they're designed more for comfort and space, and you know, they've got to accommodate a lot of other things along with being an M car. You look at, you know, if you're talking about non-M cars, look at the X5M and the X6M. I mean, to me, that's, you know, and I think people that work at the M division at BMW, the real hardcore people, must hate the fact that they build those cars, but they have to, because people buy them and it makes them a lot of money, you know. But if you're gonna slag off if you're gonna slag off any M cars, it's them, because those things are a joke. It's like the, you know, like the Range Rover SVR. Yes, it makes a great noise, and I'm sure I'd love to drive one and try one out, but they just, you know, aside from the Porsche Cayenne Turbo and stuff that actually, you know, is enjoyable when you're pushing it, and just somehow manages to almost feel like a sports car. And then of course the Macan, but you know, it's a much smaller and lower SUV, so you can see it looks like it should handle better, and it does. But of course, like, yeah, the X5M and the X6M, they're ridiculous cars. So when you talk about not being a proper M car, I think that's a load of rubbish. Yeah, so do I miss some of the expensive parts? Do I miss the lovely M seats? Yeah, sure, it would be lovely if this had sort of unique M seats in it and stuff. But again, you've got to remember, even though it's 45 to 50 grand, it's still a lot cheaper than the M3 and M4. So they had to cut costs somewhere. Now these seats are fantastic. They're basically the same as the M Sport seats in the 1 Series and the 3 Series. Same as my M135 seats, but they've just exaggerated the bolsters slightly, which has made them fantastic. They sit a lot lower, so in this car I sit lower, and that's great, especially for a sports car. And they offer everything. They're very comfortable on long journeys. I know that for a fact because I've spent a lot of time in my M135, and yet they're supportive enough for what they're designed for. So again, yes, okay, well, it hasn't got real M seats, if you want to call them that, but these seats do a fantastic job, and keep the car affordable-ish. In terms of like pace and or the handling and sound, it's got a much better sound than the M3 and M4. Let me demonstrate. The road surface is terrible here, so let's just. I mean, listen to that. And downshifting coming in again. The road surface is really bad. Fourth, third, second. It's just lovely. And the overrun, the pops and bangs you get, and the handling. Handling is unbelievable. It really is. It is. The way this car turns in is unbelievable. It will go exactly where you want it to go. When it starts losing grip and traction, the whole car starts losing grip and traction. And even though the steering is not the most, doesn't have the most feeling to it, to be fair, I wish that the actual circumference of the wheel, sorry, the diameter of the actual wheel was smaller, a bit thinner, and I've got big hands, so I'm sure the majority of people say that. And also I wish that they put a bit of Alcantara on it as a standard feature. I know you can get the horrendously expensive one, and I know you can get these retrimmed, which I will do, but yeah, after driving something like that Alpina D3 Touring that I had, that had the Alcantara on it, wow. I mean, when you're pushing these things on the limit and getting them sideways, I mean, I'm no Chris Harris, but trust me, when you've got the Alcantara on there, it just gives you so much more control and grip at the wheel. Yeah, and it's just any conditions, cold or hot, whatever, they're brilliant. So yeah, so on the limit handling, I mean, this thing's just brilliant. And I mean, that brings me to my next point, is what's the difference? A lot of people ask me, what is the difference between this and the M135 that I own, or M235, which is, very similar. Now, it's not night and day. Performance wise, I wouldn't say there's more than 10% straight line performance that this thing's got. Off the line, it's got better traction because it's got wider rubber, it's got bigger wheels as well, so there's a bigger contact patch on the ground. With a DTC box, it's fast, lightning fast. Is it any better or more effective than a ZF? On the limit it is, but for around town and normal use it isn't. So it's about 10% faster. It's got a lot more mid-range punch. Now, I've not driven a JB4 equipped 135 or 235, but I can imagine that one of those JB4 135, for instance, in an auto would have almost identical performance to this. I don't think it would still have the mid-range torque that this thing's got available when the overboost kicks in, because that is really strong. Again, it feels like more of a turbocharged vehicle, by which I mean there's a bit of lag and then it really kicks in. Now, I haven't extended this thing over about 5.5 because it's running in still, and I do respect, people who've commented, oh, you should be running it. I do run it in, always warm my car up, never give it any stick before it's warm, and yeah, and I do run it in, but I won't take it over about 5.5 at the moment until it's done about 1,000 miles, until it's had its first service at 1200 and the oil's changed and stuff. But yeah, it's that initial mid-range punch that really differentiates it from the smaller cars. Also, I have to say, it's yeah, it's just the handling that changes things. It's the sort of it's the way it deals with things. It's the way It's the handling at the top end. It's when you're really pushing on, where 135 or 235 might start showing its sort of I don't know. Its suspension almost gives way. They get a bit twitchy when you really push on the 135s and 235s, but you have to really be pushing them on. I remember Chris Harris saying that in one of his videos, and it's true. You know, you get them to a certain point and then they become a little bit uncomfortable, and you don't really know what's going to happen next, whether it's going to bite you and throw you into a hedge or whether it's going to grip. Whereas this thing, you get to that point and it actually comes alive and it starts dancing around, and it's you know, it's a brand new car, it's my baby, but yet I feel so comfortable when it's on the edge, which is really saying something about the way this is set up. It doesn't roll much, it just comes into its element when you're really pushing on. So yeah, I think that's the main difference with this and the lesser 135, 235 is the fact that when you really push it on, it's amazing. When you're doing your everyday stuff, aside from the incredible exhaust note, it's I wouldn't say it's any better at going about life than a 235. But yeah, again, that's showing how good the 135 and 235 are, and also that, you know, to improve on those cars, it takes a lot of investment, a lot of time, a lot of tweaking, and that's exactly what this car has done. I think the brakes, the most important things, the power plant's amazing, sounds better than the M3 and M4, regardless of whether it's an S engine or an N engine, because they've done a brilliant job. The exhaust sounds great. The brakes are amazing, the chassis and the handling are incredible. The driving position's great, everything, you know, it's an M car, trust me guys. Right, so I've brought some friends along with me. We've got William here, who we all know, the shy guy in front of the camera, who can drive very well. Got that crazy little Mini, it scares the life out of me. And his hot sister in the back. Hey! Her phone number will be on the comment section below. So yeah, this is the first time either of them have been in the M2, so it's going to be an interesting sort of...
Oh, Jesus Christ!
We've got to behave ourselves for a while, because we're in a 40 zone.
It's got... Oh. It's got so much push to it.
So much push to it, exactly.
It goes.
It goes.
I thought I taught you well.
More than my Mini Countryman. Jesus. It's definitely, yeah.
You can feel the turbo lag though, can't you? Compared to there's not much like in third, so you put your foot down and there's not much, and then
when it hits boost, it's...
Yeah.
Then it kicks in.
But good sound, no? I mean, that's what it doesn't come across in camera, and anyone that's been in the car or been on the outside. Oh yeah. Louise is basically an addition to the exhaust. She's an option now on the BMW M2.
Yeah.
It's really realistic sound.
Get out the way!
Is there there's a straight just... Oh,
yeah, it's coming. It's coming. You'll easily nail this person.
Yeah, but
I would, out of respect, pull over. Here we go. Whoa. Wait.
Bad road service. You got to help me, tell me which way this road goes.
Yeah, it's right, and then it's left, and then it's a really sharp right coming up afterwards. That's the one where you crapped yourself. It's much more right than you think it is. Then left, right.
What are your first impressions? Well, pretty good. Does it feel good from the passenger seat?
Jesus.
I'm not really pushing on because
No, I can feel it. This straight is good. Numbers that we can't say. Hopefully that wasn't a private policeman.
Yeah, no, I thought.
You see a policeman?
Yeah. How are the brakes?
Indicate. Well done,
Hello.
Joe.
The surface here is shit. Remember that.
So what's it like, Louise, in the back? Good?
Yeah.
Comfortable ride, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's really like, it's just like my 7 Series. This is basically how I chauffeur people.
It's not like the Rolls-Royce Phantom you had.
No.
Can I do a bit of a shout out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Emma Walsh, shout out to you.
Oh yeah, you like Emma Walsh?
Love Emma
She's
Walsh.
brilliant.
girl who can drive.
Yes! Oh, yeah, brilliant. Hear that, Emma?
Whoa.
A fan of yours.
Oh, the holes, man, the holes.
But yeah, what do you think? It's not like blisteringly fast, is it? It's fast, it's talky.
Oh, it's quick enough, man.
But it feels, it's that mid-range.
It just depends on how long you want to be in jail. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, so we're coming out to a good section of road now. Is that recording yet?
Yeah, hopefully.
Thank God Joe knows these roads inside out.
Brakes are amazing in this thing. Do you see the way it just... Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
lovely.
So much more control than I thought.
Lovely, mate.
You gotta hope.
Seriously, Joe?
What? Sorry.
You're revving the engine at that old lady.
I'm that childish.
You never know.
One sec, look, we can do the revving the engine without even downshifting. So this is why you should get Louise as an option on the BMW website. So look, ready? I'm not even going to downshift, but watch this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Louise.
You were supposed to make the noises.
She listens to it. Right.
It's temperamental. It's a software thing.
Yeah.
I was trying to listen.
It's a new option. BMW haven't tuned or perfected it yet, hence it won't be on their configurator yet, but it will be there soon and it's going to get better. So this time, let's try it again. So I'll pretend to downshift, but with Louise, it still makes a sound. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
No.
Yeah, they need to turn the volume up a bit because it's probably not going to appeal to too many boy races. Oh, and it does it again without me even.
It has a bit of nitrous.
A bit of nitrous. I love it. So there you go. Yeah, coming soon. You've seen it here first, guys. Honestly, it'll be on all the M cars in the future.
Yes.
And there'll be a button on the steering wheel that says.
No.
I'm sorry, anyone that says this car's not a real M car has just got... It's just...
Beep a little bit.
Where is it?
Aye. I love this car. Ah. It's not childish. It's
I thought it was over.
Wow.
Nope. This guy must think, what an idiot.
Look at this boy staring you down. Oh my god. Oh, he's happy. He's definitely happy. He's got a pint of beer. He's got a box of beer.